Today, we will be going over one of Dark Souls 2's most controversial and misunderstood mechanics: rolling. The main complaint surrounding rolling usually boils down to misunderstood hitboxes and two stats: ADP, also known as adaptability, and AGL, also known as agility. You may have seen the meme ADP bad, but contrary to popular belief, ADP only has partial control over your iframes and works in conjunction with attunement to determine your overall agility, which is the stat that regulates your total iframes. Let's start with some common misconceptions surrounding ADP and iframes, though later on in this video we will address some of the infamously misunderstood hitboxes of Dark Souls 2, like the Pursuer grab attack. One of the most common complaints surrounding adaptability is the misconception that you have to level it excessively high early or reach certain arbitrary amounts to be able to properly roll. What you need to look at is the substat called agility, which is responsible for item consumption speed, the speed at which you are able to raise your guard for blocking, swapping between your main hand and offhand weapons, and most importantly, your iframes. Agility is raised primarily by leveling adaptability and to a lesser extent, attunement. We will go over that in detail a bit later. To fully understand why agility is important and how it correlates with adaptability and attunement, let's break it down. When you start Dark Souls 2, your player character will have 7 to 9 iframes depending on your starting class. You then get to choose how much investment you would like to make into the iframes of your roll. With this in mind, agility has specific breakpoints in which you gain iframes. They are the stopping points you will want to meet as you level. Though there are many of them, the only breakpoints that will be relevant for your gameplay are 92, 96, 99, and rarely 105 agility. These numbers are important stopping points because you do not gain additional iframes between breakpoints. As an example, having 95 agility is the same as having 92 agility in terms of iframes. We will be going over a few more breakpoints for the other functions of agility later to show you what they do and why they aren't important. For now, let's take a closer look at the relevant agility breakpoints. The first major breakpoint, 92 agility, will grant you a total of 10 iframes, and it is the first milestone that you should try to reach early on into the game. The second major breakpoint, 96 agility, grants you 11 iframes, which is the same amount as every roll type in Dark Souls 1 except for the roll type associated with Darkwood Grain Ring. 96 agility is what you should aim for in the mid-game. The last relevant breakpoint for iframes is 99 agility, which will grant you 12 iframes and is more than you get for normal roll types in Dark Souls 1. 99 agility should be your final goal in the late game, as it is more than enough to comfortably roll every attack in the game. You should not have your agility between any of these breakpoints, as it is a waste of stat points that would be better spent elsewhere. With all of this in mind, the way agility is calculated in-game is fairly complicated, and the in-game menu tends to not always be truthful when displaying true values. We know that agility is leveled with both adaptability and attunement. Adaptability will level your agility 3 times faster than attunement will. Your adaptability investment is multiplied by 0.75, while your attunement investment is multiplied by 0.25. Then, these resulting values are added together and rounded to the nearest whole number to determine your overall agility investment. This number then correlates with the numbers in this chart to determine what tier of agility investment you are at. Due to all the math happening behind the scenes, the agility displayed in your player status screen might not always accurately reflect the in-game math. We can see this clearly because when your agility is calculated to be less than 85, it will be set to a value of 85 regardless. As an example, when you start the game before picking your class and character name, you will be at soul level -44, but your agility will still be displayed as 85. A more practical example of this is the fact that Bandit, Warrior, and Cleric class all have 85 agility displayed in the menu. Though Bandit class actually has a lower amount of iframes. Bandit class starts with 2 attunement and 3 adaptability, which calculates to agility investment tier 2, giving 7 iframes on rolls. On the other hand, Warrior and Cleric class are calculated to tier 5 investment, which is 8 iframes on rolls, though all 3 classes have in-menu values of 85 agility. This means that when starting as Bandit, you will need to invest more points to get yourself to 86 agility compared with these other classes that start with higher adaptability and attunement. As for the higher ranges, when your adaptability and attunement are both 99, your agility will be set to a value of 120 as the maximum. Using gear that boosts adaptability and therefore agility will do nothing when you reach this point. When investing into adaptability or attunement, it is important to check your agility. If you are a caster or have significant investment into attunement, you will find that you won't have to invest into adaptability nearly as much. It is a balance between the stats. Never level adaptability arbitrarily because some Reddit post told you to. The additional and less relevant functions of agility include weapon swap speed, blocking speed, item consumable speed, and iframes on backsteps and landing rolls. Weapon swap speed determines the speed at which you are able to swap your right and left-hand weapons. This multiplier scales from 120% at minimum agility up to 145% at maximum agility. This is not a function that is worth caring about, as it will not meaningfully impact your gameplay in a noticeable way. Blocking speed is the rate at which you can bring up your guard for the purposes of blocking attacks. This multiplier scales from 100% at minimum agility up to 150% at maximum agility. This is also not a function that is worth caring about at all. Item consumable speed is the rate at which you consume items such as Estus or life gems. It is a misconception that this is a critical function, and causes many players to level agility to needlessly high levels, most of the time well beyond the level of agility where item use speed caps. The item consume speed multiplier only changes between 90 and 100 agility, meaning the critical iframe breakpoints fall between these numbers. Since 99 agility is your final breakpoint in terms of iframes, it is not worth it to get to 100 agility to cap your item use speed. 99 agility puts you at 117% item use speed, while 100 puts you at 120 item use speed. This 3% difference is barely perceptible. To put this in further perspective, at the lowest possible agility, your Estus consume speed is 2.5 seconds. At 100 agility, it takes just over 2 seconds to complete the Estus consumption animation. The final, less relevant functions of agility are the increase of iframes on backsteps and landing rolls. Though these functions, along with the ones previously mentioned, are fairly useless and are not worth considering when investing into agility. Another misconception surrounding rolling pertains to videos like this one of the Pursuer grab attack, where a player seemingly rolls through the attack and gets grabbed anyway. It is easy to blame this on ADP or bad hitboxes, since a majority of players do not understand the mechanics behind this footage. Let's slow it down to show what is happening here. As you can see, this player's foot is getting clipped by the grab hitbox, as they don't have iframes at this point in their roll. This is not the fault of adaptability, agility, or the hitboxes, but is an issue with the grab animations and the player themselves. The way grab attacks work across the entire Souls franchise can be very visually comical. You can see janky grab animations happen in other entries in the franchise with the grab attacks of Iron Golem, Dancer of the Boreal Valley, Gaping Dragon, and more. This is because the roll animation is prioritized to finish first, while the grab attack animation is queued. This causes the roll animation to play out fully, then the grab attack animation plays, making the player seemingly teleport to the end of the Pursuer's sword. Dark Souls 2 hitboxes are considered to be poor as people aren't able to see the actual hitboxes and are judging based on janky animations. To put this in further perspective, let's look at the grab attacks from the perspective of strafing. You can see that the player character is extremely close to the sword but is not getting grabbed because they are not actually getting hit, unlike with the player's foot earlier. With Hitbox Visualizer on, we can see that the hitbox is nicely aligned with the sword. The issue in this popular video does not stem from bad hitboxes or bad rolling mechanics, but the personal skill of the player in the video coupled with the way animations are queued. Additional reasons this grab attack hit the player is that they are at a higher equipment load percentage, reducing the distance of their roll. When a player is over 70% of their equipment load, they will fat roll, which will reduce roll distance even more severely. In this case, the player having a higher equipment load percentage contributed to their foot getting clipped by the grab attack of Pursuer. When replicating this footage with hitbox viewers on, we had to get to 69% of equipment load while also having low agility to fail rolling this attack in the same way. In addition to roll distance being reduced, if you are wearing armor that you do not meet the requirements for, or if you are rolling without enough stamina, your iframes will be reduced on those rolls. Be mindful that your stamina regeneration speed will be negatively affected by your current percentage of equipment load, meaning that your stamina will regenerate slower while you are heavy, oftentimes leading to rolling without enough stamina. Another thing to keep in mind is that many enemies have delayed attacks that are intentionally slower, which keeps their hitboxes in contact with the player model for a longer period of time. These kind of attacks can catch players off guard early on due to the lack of iframes and instinct of most players to roll as soon as they see an attack winding up. You can see this clearly happening in the original Pursuer grab video. This is commonly known as panic rolling. A reliable way to play around these scenarios is to stay calm and time your rolls. Learn the directionality of the attacks you are trying to avoid. Oftentimes, you can roll diagonally off to the side or roll into an attack, causing you to be able to fully avoid getting hit while creating crucial distance. Staying calm will help you keep yourself safe from long hitboxes and follow-up attacks. Now that we know how agility and rolling works in Dark Souls 2, the stat and rolling as a whole might not seem so daunting. Be sure to let us know how you feel about agility in the comment section, and make sure to check out our other videos on Dark Souls 2 mechanics.